What's the worst house guest experience you've had? Hey friends, could you do me a favor and take 2 seconds to like this video by giving it a big thumbs up. Also, consider clicking the red subscribe button below if you'd like to see more videos. Thanks. My aunt came to visit for what was supposed to be a week or 2 and didn't leave for almost a year. When I was a kid, she redecorated my room and even put up pictures of herself. Now, the running joke in my family is to randomly leave pictures of yourself around the house when we visit people. My uncle was supposed to fly on a trip, so he was going to stay for a couple days. Instead, he went like, F this shit, and spent the whole summer with us. LMAO. Man, to be fair, I would love that if my bros decided to just stay all summer. My wife, on the other hand, I hate it when my wife sticks around all summer. He cranked my dad's speakers up to the max and blew them. They were from the 70s, so impossible to replace or repair. Then he clogged our toilet, grabbed a bunch of grandma's quilts to sop up the water. He then tried to stop the water by violently shaking the tank, cracking the bowl, and dislodging it from its base. In a panic, he tried to bolt from the house. His wet feet slipped on the wood floor, and he crashed into a wall, leaving a nice body-sized impression. That's how my brother's friends was barred from the house. How old was this guy? How do people like this even survive in the world? He was 13 at the time. My uncle and his wife came to stay for a while. They got my room, and I slept on the couch for a few months. No big deal when you're a kid, I guess. What actually ticked me off is that when they finally left, we found out that they'd seriously messed up my room. Everything reeked of cigarettes. There were ground up peanut shells in the carpet, cigarette burns on my mattress, etc. And we couldn't figure out why the room smelled like death until we lifted up the bed and found mummified cat shit stuck up in the shag carpeting. They either had such bad hygiene that they didn't notice the smell, or they knew and they just didn't care. Edit. To everyone asking how we didn't notice the cigarette smell, my guess is that they only smoked in the room during the day when everyone was out, probably smoked out the window. My parents weren't smokers, we just figured the smell was coming from their bodies, which we couldn't do anything about. Housemate had people come over, order a pizza, decide they didn't want it, and refuse to answer the door, so they didn't have to pay, at 4 AM. Pizza guy could hear them through the door, so kept knocking louder and louder. I eventually went to the door and opened it, then explained to the pizza guy what was going on, so that they didn't blacklist the property, and forced them to pay. As they were packing to leave the next day, I noticed them trying to take some of my extra PS4 controllers by sneaking them into their bag. I'm normally an introvert, but already being cranky from no sleep, I lost my shit at that point. Called them a disgusting thief, and told them to get the F out. Controllers are expensive. F those hoes. That would be the girl visiting my sister-in-law, who decided it would be funny to repeatedly prank call 911. I got a very angry call from the local police station, saying we either stopped, or they'd be sending a squad car over. Apologized profusely to the officer, and thanked him for calling us first. She was not invited back to her house. She was 17. And definitely old enough to know better. Isn't abuse of 911 an actual crime? In Florida the first false alarm call is not, but usually the second time is an explanation, saying that they will get charged if this continues, unless it was explained the first time. Anything after, you will probably get charged. My ex-wife's friend had her car break down, and our apartment was right on a bus route to her job. She was supposed to stay over for a week while she got her car fixed. After 2 months, and a lot of warning, we packed her bags for her, and put them by the door. My dad owned a business his whole life, and was in the process of hiring new installers. One applicant came in from out of town, and my dad, being the kind man he was, offered for him to stay in our home. When the morning came, the man went to take a shower. My parents heard the water turn on, and it stayed on for a really long time. After an hour and a half of running water, my mom made my dad go check on him. My dad went upstairs, picked the lock on the bathroom door, and found blood and a limp body on the floor next to the running shower. The man had overdosed, lost consciousness, hit his head on the shower side, and died. He was dead. Right there, on the bathroom floor that I used for 10 years. One thing is for sure, he won't be coming back to our house again. This one caught me off guard, lol. Yeah, everything else in the thread was people being assholes, and suddenly we get a death. Wife's cousin stayed a couple days with us. After he left, I discovered he purchased about $60 worth of porn on DirecTV. Who are these monsters who pay for porn, especially on TV, let alone someone's other than theirs, just jerking it in the living room in the afternoon, while everyone pretends the world isn't burning down around them. He crashed on our couch, and this was overnight. Instead of asking where the toilet paper is, they let their kid wipe his ass with our guest towels. Was there extra toilet paper in the bathroom, or were they too lazy to look? They were overnight guests. There were definitely more rolls. They just didn't look around. My old roommate told me she had a friend who had fallen on rough times and needed a spot to crash for a while. No worries, I told her. Oh, big worries. He was a professional beatboxer, but more than that, he was a professional smoker. Like, I'm fine with weed generally, but this dude was on 12 to 15 blunts a day and would roll one as soon as he rolled his tighty whitey clad ass off of our couch. So, for like 4 months, as soon as I woke up, it was nothing but clouds of white island, berm cut, furka cha cha berm. He didn't fall on rough times. He was a rough time. Couple came for a weekend to my small apartment, surprised that they brought 3 dogs and an extra friend. The puppy took a dump on my floor in the night, which nobody got up to clean. Another dog had a crate, but managed to get a hold of a carpet outside of the crate, drag it in, and shred it. They also chewed up cardboard and wooden furniture. When they left, all the shredded stuff was just where it fell. Some people should not be pet owners. One of my best buddies from high school called me up and begged for me to come get him from a town about 3 hours away. The idea was, he would stay with us for a couple weeks while he looked for work, and then get his own place. 6 months later, I ended up renting him a room for 1 month, and dropping him off with his junk, and wishing him well. His father had warned me he would drain me dry, and he wasn't kidding. All those months he was supposedly using my vehicle to look for work, he was instead going out to a local bar. Every bottle in our liquor cabinet was drained, down to the last finger. She stole all of my booze, pissed on my couch, tore up the flower bed to the side of my driveway, and destroyed my guest bathroom. This all happened after I'd fallen asleep. She was a guest of a tenant or roommate, and that roommate was told either her friend wasn't allowed over ever again, or she'd have to find a new place to live. Literally thought this was going to be about a dog. Yeah, pissed on my couch, got me. Ran into a guy I used to call a friend, and let him stay with me for a while, as he was down on his luck. I guess we'd ran out of toilet paper, so he used a washcloth, and left it at the side of the toilet. Kicked him out, and found out later, he walked away with some of my CDs. Some mutual friends let him stay, against my advice. They came home one day to find him passed out on the couch, with his pants around his ankles. After they kicked him out, they found out he'd racked up $900 in phone sex charges. F you, Noel. You always were, and always will, be a piece of shit. We had a house sitter once, who wanted to bring their own dog for the week. They assured us the dog was well behaved and house trained. This was a pretty close friend, and their house is nice and clean, so we believed them. Came home to find every rug in our house destroyed. The house smelled funky when we walked in, and I immediately found wet spots on our living room rug. Lifted it up, and it had more stained areas than not. Same with the kitchen, hallway, bedroom, and guest room rugs. I'm guessing this dog didn't pee outside a single time it was there. This was someone we paid to watch our house. Edit. To answer some common questions. Their house was all hardwood, and had a dog door. I guess the dog just let itself out, or maybe it does pee inside, and they clean it up. Maybe the dog was freaked out in a new place. I honestly have no idea. I didn't confront them. We had a lot going on at that point in our lives. and just felt it was best to silently sever the relationship and learn an expensive lesson. We were planning a cross-state move and a wedding. All our small rugs went through the wash. The living room rug went right into the dumpster. It was so bad. We tried to clean the big office rug, but it ended up trashed too. We replaced the living room rug fairly cheaply. They tried to blame it on my dog and kind of acted like they hadn't noticed, which I do not, for 1 second, believe either part of. My dog has had 2 accidents since we got her 6 years ago. Once, the first day, and once, when she was recovering from anesthesia. She has a bladder of steel and weighs 15 pounds. This other dog was a solidly 75-pound lab mix. Based on the sizes of the stains, it was not the 15-pounder. Weirdly, there was no evidence of poop in the house. So, I really don't know what was going on. No, it does not appear that they made any attempt to clean up the mess. The rug downstairs was literally dripping wet. We paid via Venmo before we got home. Yes, I'm a spineless wimp. No major justice boner to be found here. Well, this one happened a few years ago, but the husband of my great aunt came to visit us. Mind you, he was like 80 something years old, so he goes to the bathroom to do his business, and he comes down. Now he smells a little bit, but we all brush it aside. Then, when he sits down, and after a while gets back up to leave, you can see shit stains on the sofa. Not only that, but my mom then goes upstairs and finds the bathroom full of shit. Not full on shit, but a bunch of it was sprayed on the walls, etc. To this day, we haven't spoken about it, and that man passed away around a year ago. Some family friends came over with their 30-year-old son, unannounced, took a nap on our sofa, like, full on, shoes off, made us turn off the TV, because it was too loud. Then Venmo charged us for snacks they brought, even though we didn't ask for anything. I literally felt like I was the one who was visiting.